Hello and welcome to Greenlee Art Space. My name is Kimberly Hocking and I'm the director and curator here. We're so excited to have you here with us for our opening of the USPS Art Project. I'm going to briefly give you an overview of some of the things that we're going to do today so you know where we're headed. First, you're going to hear from some of our board members, a little bit about the Zoom procedures that we're going to follow today. You're going to hear a little bit about Greenlee in case you're new to us, as well as a really neat box subscription fundraiser that we're doing. After that, you're going to hear a little bit more about the project that we're doing, this USPS Art Project. Following that, we'll have a neat video that shows the setup, and some of you might have seen some of it with the opening of all the boxes, and it gives you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look of what we do to make this art show possible. Then you're going to hear from Christina Massey more about the project, and while she's telling you about that, you're going to see a video that's going to actually show you the exhibition. We invite you, if you're one of the artists and you see your work, you could type in your Instagram in the chat below. All right, so that's kind of where we're headed, and we'll have a time at the end. After that, we're going to talk to some of the artists. We're going to do interviews with them, and we've just selected a few of the artists, and please know that if you weren't selected, we still would love to hear from you about your artwork. Go ahead and type that in the chat, and at the end, when we have a question and answer time, we'll get to you, and we'd love to hear from you as well. So next, you're going to hear from our board treasurer, Jolene. Take it away, Jolene.
Hello, and welcome. My name is Jolene Miter, and I am serving on the board of directors at Greenlee. And we are so glad you joined us, whether from here in Southern California or farther north or from other states or time zones. We would love to know your location if you'd like to share that with us in the chat box. This presentation is being recorded and will be available on Greenlee's YouTube channel. If you do not want your image recorded, please turn off your camera by clicking on the movie projector icon at the bottom of your screen. We will keep everyone on mute so as not to disturb the presentation, but if you have questions as we go, feel free to type them in the chat box, and we'll open up a time at the end for questions and answers. To get to the chat function, look for the More button at the bottom of your screen, and from there you can get to the chat icon and just click on that. And again, we appreciate that this community will show respect and kindness toward one another in this space. Thank you again for being here, and I would now like to introduce you to Cheyenne Grandy, who will explain to you more about Greenlee Art Space and its purpose. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cheyenne Grandy, and I'm the Art Therapy Liaison on Greenlee's board. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a board-certified art therapist. My favorite thing about serving alongside my fellow board members is having a front row seat to their thoughtful, creative, and community-oriented ideas. And then I get to collaborate to bring them to life. I want to welcome you all to our opening reception. For those of you who've made your way here tonight for the very first time, I'm so glad you're here. Greenlee is a 100% volunteer-run 501c3 nonprofit gallery dedicated to enriching lives and cultivating community through art. We seek to create contemplative art shows, bring art to the community, and provide a space for art making, mentoring, and art therapy. We are able to continue this work through donations, grants, and volunteers. I want to acknowledge the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture. They provided an operational grant which helped make this exhibit possible. Thank you for believing in us and supporting Greenlee to share this beautiful show with our community. I also want to take a moment to express gratitude to all of our amazing donors. Thank you for your generosity and investment in this creative space. We are honored and grateful that you chose to partner with us. If you would like to contribute now or in the future, you can always go to our website. It's greenleeartspace.org and visit our online store. And there are options for a one-time donation, or you can help us build in some predictability by setting up an ongoing monthly donation. These do go a long way to helping us plan for the future and decide where to focus our efforts. So now I would like to introduce our amazing board member, Lupita, who brings heart and thoughtfulness to her role as our Director of Hospitality. She's going to share about a special project we're working on to express our gratitude for our community.
Thank you, Cheyenne. My name is Lupita and I'm the Director of Hospitality of Greenlee Art Space. We are very excited to launch this project and we bring to you subscription boxes. We have a few different levels and a few different options, all of which continue to support the efforts of Greenlee Art Space. We have the Gratitude Box, the Theo Box, and the Slater Box. When you schedule an appointment to see the current show, you'll receive the Gratitude Box. This will contain a delicious treat and some art supplies. When you sign up on our website as a monthly contributor, you'll receive one when you first sign up, and then every 6 months that you continue to donate to Greenlee Art Space. This will contain a delicious treat, some art supplies, and an art print. Then we have the very exclusive limited quantity Slater Box. Renowned Long Beach artist Slater Barron provided us with some materials and very, very special items from her collection, and their supplies that we want to share with you. So they'll contain some treats, some art supplies, and part of these materials from her collection. So we really appreciate all the support and your time, and we look forward to sending these out as soon as you sign up. So please let us know if you have any questions regarding the subscription boxes. But now I'd like to turn it over to Kimberly Hocking, our curator and director.
All right, thank you so much, Lupita and other board members, for sharing with us. We're excited to tell you a bit about how we got involved in this project. A local artist named Stephanie Hahn, who you'll hear from later in the interviews that are going to happen, she let me know about this neat project, the USPS Art Project, that an artist from New York, Christina Massey, had started. And the idea was to support the Postal Service by making connections between artists across miles. One artist would start the project and then mail it to another artist. Since this project started back in April of 2020, there's been over 1,000 works of art. And here in our show, we have over 100 works of art and over 100 artists. So this art has traveled across the US, and we have new artwork in this show that's never been seen before, as well as artwork that has been in previous shows. So this has traveled from Pelham, New York, New Haven, Connecticut, to Dallas, Texas, to Denver, Colorado, to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and finally here to Signal Hill, California. So we're so excited to be the first West Coast showing of this exhibition. So now you're going to see a video of a behind the scenes look at what it takes to actually put an exhibition like this together.
So all those boxes you guys sent to us, I felt like it was Christmas morning. We had so much fun opening all of your wonderful artwork. It's so amazing to see the artwork in person. We get to see it all online when we're getting ready for the show. But yeah, now we get to see it in person. We're working hard even right now to try to get everything up on our Square store. So we'll let you know later, a little bit later, if we get everything up. And so if people are interested in buying anything, they can. So yeah, this was a really fun process for us, but this gives you a look at how it is when we start out, and you can see sort of the process that we go through.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so here's the part where we start curating and we start moving work all around the exhibit. And this is a really fun process. It's like a very big jigsaw puzzle. And so we definitely have a really fun time doing this. And as you can see, it does start coming together, and it's a pretty fun process for us to get to put all that artwork up and get figured out where it can go. So, and you guys are so welcome. It's really a joy and an honor to be able to do this. So So here you see Dave, he's hanging everything. He's an engineer extraordinaire, and he's able to do all the hard math to figure out where everything needs to go. All right, so as you can see, he's kind of speedy here, but this does take hours and hours. So it's fun for you to be able, Dave is very much behind the scenes. And so often he doesn't get as much credit as he should. So yay, Dave, we're so grateful for you using your amazing math skills to create things like this. There were some casualties during the shipping. So that's one of the unique things about the show. So we did fix some of the frames and paint them up. So that was kind of a fun process to make them be able to be part of things. All right, and then lastly, Dave goes around and he fixed all of the lights and makes sure that everything is level. And you'll see here the very kind of last part as he's putting the name on the show.
Although we haven't met in person yet, Christina Massey feels like an old friend. We've talked, texted, and emailed for multiple hours during this preparation for this exhibition and creating it for you. Thank you to all the artists who submitted artwork for it. So Christina Massey is a contemporary mixed media abstract artist working in painting and sculpture. She currently lives and works in Brooklyn, New York. So while Christina is talking, we're going to share a video which will be your first look at the exhibition in full, and we'll go around the whole entire exhibition. If you see your work of art and you're joining us today, feel free to type in the name of the work and your Instagram tag or your website in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. So now I'd like to introduce Christina Massey.
I love seeing all the process, because hanging a work of 100+ artworks that are all different sizes and materials and styles is so much work. So huge thank you to you guys for doing that and for taking on this show. So lots of you guys know me. I'm Christina Massey, and I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. And the project is officially a year old. It started in April of 2020. And there's a lot of New Yorkers in here because that's where I'm located and where the project began, and really where this experience of the pandemic began, right? So if you recall, April of last year was a very confusing, stressful time. And the project really developed out of that, of, being quarantined and kind of really in the thick of everything here. It turns out I live between kind of 3 hospitals, and sirens at this time last year were pretty much nonstop. Every evening, people were outside cheering for the medical professionals who didn't have enough PPE at the time. We really didn't know that much about this virus. And I just became very much like, well, what can we as artists do? And it really started with a text to a friend. Said, hey, do you think this would be a fun idea that artists would enjoy doing? Like, what if we created work together by using the US Postal Service, which has had an abnormally large percentage of their employees contact COVID, get sick. And it became almost, the joke of that they delivered the mail in the rain, sleet, and snow and pandemic. And not to mention everything else that was going on politically with them. And she said, great, let's do this. And then it was a small group of friends that joined in, and to now I've lost track. There's so many artists that have participated, hundreds, if not 1,000 artists, and just so many artworks. And huge thank you to spaces like Greenlee that have decided to become a part of the project, because it's now turned into this traveling hybrid thematic exhibition where each show has been unique. It hasn't been the same pieces in every show. Every show has always had new pieces. And then some have really traveled across the country. So we've been in 6 different states and in 6 different galleries at this point. And I really, really wanted to have a California location because that's where I was born and raised. So this one is very special to me, and I was very excited to have this happen because planning exhibits, especially traveling exhibits during a pandemic, is a challenge because every state has been opening and closing and having different rules. And a lot of you have been along this journey this whole time. And I can't thank you guys enough for every time you've participated, every time you've shared. You've brought in others to the process, and it's been just such an amazing highlight for me this year. I have drawn so much inspiration from you all. Getting to see the before and afters with the Instagram process is just such a joy, because you get to kind of see, like, if you see the before, you, in my mind at least, I'm going, ooh, how would I finish this? And I feel like I'm coordinating and collaborating with all of you guys in a way as you start to post it on social media. And then it's just always such an amazing, wonderful surprise to see how a work is finished, and just the variety and just creativity. Like here, we're looking at a piece that was done on both sides. There's just been a huge variety of mediums, from photography, painting, drawing, sculpture. There's been artists who have done jewelry, dresses. There's even been a few people who created videos out of it. It's been so interesting to see how people have taken this idea of collaboration and really expanded on it. And it's turned into all of these kind of interesting side projects as well, which is just phenomenal to see. And at this point, it's really, like I said, it grew so big that now I have a group of amazing, amazing people who have volunteered to help me keep it all straight and organized. And I know some of you are here, so thank you. And so huge support and thank you to them. And we're going to be going through a few selected artists to talk about specifically their experiences and what it was like to collaborate, what brought them to the project. There's certain mediums and processes that they use to create that particular piece, but we want to make sure you guys feel comfortable and know that you can have your chance to speak at the end as well. And this little video, which I'm getting to see for the first time too, if you're kind of taking some notes of where your piece is, that will help us as we go through that process. But as an artist myself who has created several pieces with several different artists, each one I learned and grew from. I'm an artist that uses a lot of different materials, and I work in 2D and 3D, but I found each partner, I approached how I started a piece differently, and I approached how I finished a piece differently, and getting to see how someone else's mind works and their materials. It was so intimate and just really rewarding. And as an artist myself, I feel like I gained so much from it. And I really hope that you guys had a similar experience, and just want to thank you again for making my 2020 an actually pretty good year. You all were a huge part in doing that. So we're going to throw it to one of the artists who was right in the beginning, really involved. Stephanie Hahn, I know, just to get you ready to go. She also had a whole amazing side project inspired by the project. And so I'm so excited to introduce her. And we'll be going into different collaborations as we go through this, like I said, but then we'll be opening up for other people to be able to chat. So Stephanie, I would love if you want to introduce yourself. I think we're gonna pull up your collaboration and say hi to everyone. So thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Hahn, and I'm an artist here in Long Beach, California. And I got involved initially through an East Coast friend, a friend that I went to grad school with. And I think she heard about this project. And so she put the call out. And so I ended up collaborating with her, and as well as, some other old grad school friends. So it was a really great way to connect with some old friends and make some new ones. And so the pelican image that you just saw was a collaboration with another local Long Beach artist named Kupillas. And since then, we've become very good friends as well as studio mates. And we've also launched an art space, an exhibit space within our studio. Yeah, like Christina said, 2020, as horrible as it was, it led to a lot of great creativity, like this project, and also this USPS project inspired other offshoots. One of them was the USPS Art Project done through a local Long Beach visual arts group called Art Clout, which I co-founded. And it was a different flavor. We let people send us envelopes, and volunteer artists, a lot of whom are involved in this project, would mail back small artworks. So people could get original artworks, for price of a stamp, I suppose. And it just allowed a lot more mail to happen. So that was in turn inspired by another, artist who had decided to do something like that. So like I said, a lot of creativity, a lot of ideas, that happened under duress, which was really wonderful to see. And I'm just so happy and excited that I was a part of it. And when Christina put out a call for, hey, does anybody know of a place in California that might want to exhibit? I immediately thought of Greenlee, that I became acquainted with a couple years ago. And I was thinking, wow, if this could work out, it would be perfect. And it did. So I'm really gratified and amazed that it came to fruition. But it really is the incredible hard work of Kimberly and David Hocking, who really are doing the work to put this together. So thank you so much.
And a huge thank you to you. You made my dream of the show in California come true. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And your collaboration partner is here too, right? Anne?
She is. Let's see, where are you, Anne?
I am. I'm here. I'm in the Northern Lights here in California. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I met Stephanie through Art Clout right at the beginning of the shutdowns, like literally right at the start. I think it was the same week when we realized that the Art Clout show was not going to be able to go live in public. And I just felt like a like-mindedness with Stephanie and kind of kept in touch with her. We exchanged information. And then I found out about the USPS Art Project through Stephanie and Christine Hippeli, who's also here. And I just thought it was amazing. I had never collaborated with anyone before, with another artist, aside from gallery showings. And so I did a few different works. I got excited about it. I think I did a dozen or so with other artists that I admire, including Christine and Stephanie. And I exchanged paintings with Stephanie. We both do watercolors. Stephanie does a lot of other things. I do mainly watercolors. And when Stephanie sent me a pelican, I couldn't believe it. I was over the moon because I love to paint birds. And I am actually, I'm on pause with a bird show here in Long Beach that will hopefully get back on track for next year. So when she sent me a pelican, it was very near and dear to my heart. I'm from New York, actually, and when I moved to Long Beach in 1998, pelicans were the first things that greeted me here in Long Beach. And I had never seen them before, and I thought that they were dinosaurs. I thought they were pterodactyls flying out over the ocean, and so it was very meaningful for me. And I didn't want to do too much to the painting, so because it was so beautiful. So Stephanie did the original watercolor, and I added the gold metal leaf with the halo, and then the other pterodactyls that are dive bombing in the background, and just thought it looked really beautiful in a very simple way with the gold frame. So I was really excited to be collaborating with Stephanie and also to be part of the project.
Yeah, I remember that on Instagram specifically, because I remember how excited you were that it was a pelican and you had no idea.
Yeah, I thought you read my mind.
Yeah. And that happened a few times where people who, a lot of times people didn't even know each other and they sent each other something and it just happened to be so perfect for that person. So I loved that story. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you guys want to put your if Instagram or website in the chat, please do so that people can see more of your work too.
Thank you.
All right. Nathan, if you could put up the slide for our next artist. So the next artist that we're going to hear from, sorry, I hope I didn't cut you off, Christina, since we're kind of going in the moment here. All right, so the next artist we're going to hear from are Nancy, Nicole, and Basco about this really interesting work of art that's titled Type O. So Nancy, I'll have you go ahead and start. Nathan, you want to highlight Nancy? Are you there? Ah, great. We can't hear you, Nancy, so unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Okay,
go for it.
Put the image back up. Can you put the image back up? Because I want to talk about the image, which is Type O. Thank you. Okay, I was the one who started the image. And let me go back and say that Basco and I know each other through the New York Artists Circle. And she invited me to participate. And I thought, what a great way to support, you know, the USPS. That was the reason we did it. And also because I trust Basco and I think she trusts me. Okay, look in the middle and you see the sign that says one way. Everybody see that? Okay, I did a complete collage underneath with striped magazine papers. And I just picked them out and then I put them together. And I think subliminally I was thinking about one way. And you see the word TO underneath the R and the V, which is the next vertical strip. Okay, one way, where is it going? So this is a juxtaposition of magazine cutouts that's urban and suburban, but mostly urban, where you have street signs and you have one-way streets. And currently there's a lot of road construction in my studio town, which is New Rochelle, which is actually a small city. And you find roadblocks and then you have to go one way and then you have to go around and figure out where you're going. So maybe that was the reason for this particular sign without thinking about it, obviously. Do you want to ask me a question? I can talk about, you know, where my building, which is a media loft, which is a live work studio in a historic building that has pipes hanging and structural beams, and I love it. And you look outside and it's very urban, and yet there are people who live nearby, so you feel safe. Like, you know, you can work there any time of day or night, but it's my home away from home, and I love it.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so great to hear more about sort of where you guys are working from. And you talked a little bit about which part was your contribution in the piece. So I really loved hearing more about that. So maybe we'll ask Basco to jump in and talk a little bit about your contribution to the piece and where you work from.
Hi, are you able to hear me? Did the sound
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Wonderful. Yes, I invited Nancy to do this with me. Actually, we did 4 pieces all together. I just adore Nancy's collage work. So I was thrilled when she accepted doing this with me. I worked with 2 other artists also. I think you have the work I did with Cora Jane Glazer also in the work. And I agree with Christina. I think each artist I worked with, I handled in a very different way. And I wanted to respect not only their vision, but their materials. And I came at it from a very different direction. But when Nancy sent me that piece, it had a lot of typography on it. And I adore typography. And I've only used it a couple of times in my collages, but I just got very excited by it. And I just really wanted to play with it. Also, she had that word, a phrase, one way. And I thought I would find another phrase that I loved to put in. I loved that it had a directional sign. It has an arrow in it, which also I thought was very exciting because it's dynamic. So I wanted to also put dynamic shapes, to add dynamic shapes, although I probably got a little carried away there. And I wanted to do another phrase, and I picked vivre, which means to live in French. So we both had a phrase that I think had a lot of strength on its own, and we both added a lot of directional sense to it. And we just played with type. And I added, Nancy loves to have little polka dots in her work and little dot patterns. So I put typewriter keys, so it had dots and letters. And I really tried to like dance with what she did. And I think probably a lot of us felt, as Christina said, this sense of intimacy, this sense of long distance playing with another artist and then trying to do something with that. And it was enormous fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks so much. It's really fun to hear more of like the background and more about it. So thanks so much for sharing. All right, back to you, Christina.
One of the things I found super interesting was there was quite a few artists who used the post office as inspiration in their pieces. And so one great example of that from the show is Linda Cerrone-Rolón. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, and Alon Cadiz. And I think you both are here, and we're going to pull up that piece. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you're here. But I know there's some really great stories behind inspiration to not just this piece that we have up here, but there's another piece in the show. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that, that would be wonderful.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, how are you? Thank you for having us in this show. Evonne and I are both from New York. I'm in Brooklyn and she's, I believe, uptown in Harlem. Is she here?
Evonne, are you here?
I don't know if she's here. I tried reaching out to her. Anyways, so she's amazing. We've actually we have never met, but we've worked in the same place, New York Historical Society. And then we, collaborated on the first piece. The first piece is a little serious. It's actually, so Evonne started the first project, and the first project was, she sent me a house that she made out of scraps, which is part of her body of work on a regular basis. And when I got the house, I was like, oh, mail gets sent to the house. But there was something about the house that, I think the door fell off or a window, so I couldn't find a way into the house. So I decided to look up, so her house is left corner. So I decided to just kind of look up like some U.S. Postal Service. And the first story that came up actually was a story of Kiara Colt, who is missing still. And she was a U.S. Postal officer, and she was 3 months pregnant, and she has been missing. And the family kept preaching out the word "speak for me." So I decided to go a little deep, and I just used the back of Evonne's envelope and the back of, and then I had like a piece of scrap paper. So I don't know. I figured that these images would be floating around the country. I think it was in 2 shows so far, and now this is the 3rd one. And I kind of hope someone recognizes this story and, maybe, I don't know, it's like, speak for her, so, and I do ballpoint pen. Kiara Coles is her name. Kiara Coles. Her family, supposedly her father, sleeps outside of her house in his car until she comes home. It's a very upsetting situation. So, and I'm a ballpoint pen sketchbook artist. I also paint in oils and do murals. But this was, my brain just went right to it. And this big profile of a person looking down into the emptiness of the words "speak for me." And then the second, and if it does sell, I would like to find the family and donate, as long as Evonne agrees, we donate the money somehow to just help look for her. And then the second piece, I said, hey, Evonne, you want to do another piece? And I made things lighter because my work's usually about satire and, and funny clothes and whatever. And she kind of has that quirkiness in her. If you ever go, the way she dresses, whatever. So anyway, so I just kind of made like a future self of me going to the post office with my little roughly polka dotted outfit. I'm at my job right now. That's why I look like this, but you know, and it's always like the tennis balls on the bottom of someone's walker, and you know, she's just going to mail a letter. And I always use, you know, I'm a ballpoint pen artist, but I use a lot of ink and color, and then I love using reflective material because I really want people to kind of catch. You can't kind of see it, you see it a little bit, but I want people to kind of catch themselves. You know, I mean, sometimes you see it in glass, you know, when you're framing, but I want people to see it in the work because for me, everyone is in my work. I'm from New York City, born and raised. I'm in Brooklyn, Sheepshead Bay. And, you know, I'm kind of not a recluse, but I'm, you know, I'm the person in the corner who's just looking and paying attention. So anyway, and Evonne did the second part and she made like a little old lady in the background. And I think it'd be funny if that's like our future selves. So it was a great project. And I really hope, you know, the first piece gets recognized somehow for Kiera and her family. And that's it. So I'm really happy to be here. And I'll put my Instagram up and my website after this talk.
Thank you. If you could put Evonne's up too, that would be wonderful.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Christina. This is amazing. Since I'm a kid, I went to sleepaway camp. You know, my mom always wanted to get me out of the city. And even in the little yearbook at the end of the year, it says, what did Linda say? Oh, is the mail here yet? So I love, you know, I think the post office and the mail people, you know, who deliver the mail, it's just our last kind of like innocence, you know, it's poetry in itself and everything hand delivered. It's really special. It's very romantic and I'm happy to be a part of this project. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You said that so beautifully. I want to quote that.
Oh, yeah. My mom would be like, oh, she's been saying that for years, you know, because it's the truth, you know, especially today. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. All right. So we'll go on to our next artists here, which are a brother and sister group. Nathan, if you want to put that up. So we're going to hear from Jennifer Edmondson and Johnny Dowd. So are you guys there?
We are, we think.
Yes.
Wonderful. We
Yes,
don't see us, but we're assuming we're here.
Yes, we can hear you, even though we can't see you right now, but we'll go ahead and come over. We'll go over so we can see you, but share a little bit about where you're working from and a little bit about what you guys did in this project.
Sure. John and I are both from Oklahoma. Our families are from Oklahoma, but we are living in New York right now. And interestingly, we actually did, the hardest part for us was really mailing our items to each other because we actually live next door to each other. So there was we could have just walked it, but we mailed it because we felt like that was like in the spirit of the thing. He's got a studio. Johnny's a professional musician, so he's got his studio and I have mine. But the collaboration part really started when we did a benefit for a local nonprofit here in New York, the Cancer Resource Center. And we did, Johnny was releasing a CD at the time called Family Picnic. So we did family art and family members and friends had stuff hung and John played live music and we did this whole collaborative thing. So that kind of got us started. And then we got into, John does like a lot of drawing, like reams of drawing, thousands of drawings. And he let me take his material and just turn it into something else. So we started doing assemblages and collages and, you know, mobiles and just taking it and turning it into something else. And then we got turned on to the USPS Art Project. And we really liked the idea of not only doing something that had that kind of positive message of supporting I mean, I won't get into politics, but it was pretty salient at the time, supporting the post office, and also doing something that people could use themselves. Like both of us like the idea that the person who gets the art piece or sees the art piece gets to interact with it, like in a physical way, or change it or use it.
They're postcards, so you can write on them and mail them to somebody.
Yeah, they're really owned by the person that gets them and uses them. So our USPS Art Project, we literally mailed it. I mean, it didn't go in a box. It went in the mail. Even though we didn't have to mail it very far to each other, still went in the mail, and it could have gone in the mail to anybody. So we really like that part of it.
Oh, it's so much fun to hear that from you guys. It's really neat to kind of hear a little bit more about your process and how you guys got started and all of that. Johnny, you want to say a little bit more?
I want to give a shout out to my favorite sister, Jill. Yo, Jill.
We promised. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Go for it. This is kind of, we want it to be like community and more informal. So I think that that's wonderful. Johnny, you want to talk a little bit about the pictures that you did in this one that we're highlighting, the crossword? You want to tell us a little bit about what your part was in that?
Yeah, I did the car and the man figure, manish figure. I think the figure's probably genderless, actually, though. Yeah. And then, did I do the sun?
Yeah, you did that too.
Yeah, and then Jennifer.
Yeah, wonderful. Did you, is there anything specific? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, you. No, I'm kidding. Jennifer, was there anything specific that made you choose this crossword, or is it just something that you had around, or?
Yeah, I've been doing crosswords in a certain room in the house on a regular basis. And I thought, these are really cool. Like, they take a lot of time. And when you're done, there's this thing. So, you know, another thing that both John and I really like is to reuse stuff, which I think I recently, having looked more deeply at Christina's stuff, I feel like, yeah, I like that. I want to be like that. But
yeah.
You know, the idea of using something that you already have, cardboard, you know, just putting things together without having to purchase brand new items and coming up with something that didn't exist before is really neat to us. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, I'm super inspired by all of the stuff that everybody else has been doing. I just got to say, what a great show. You guys rock.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. And yeah, yay, it's a really great show. And I think we did, Dave, I'm just gonna ask my husband, did we get everything up on the store?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're watching this and you see anything that you're interested in purchasing or seeing how much it costs, we'll try to put in the chat the link to the store, or if you go to our
greentheartspace.org.
Yeah, go to greentheartspace.org and you can click on our online store, and you could go ahead and purchase it now if you wanted to. So just wanted to let you guys know that. And now back to Christina. So thanks so much for sharing with us, Jennifer and Johnny.
Thank you. So can you guys hear me? I just unmuted.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Yeah, so one of the things that I didn't expect necessarily, because at first, you know, we had to be careful. We didn't know how much this virus was transferring on surfaces. So I expected more close friends and family. But then it started to become more strangers and long distance. And then it became very family again. So it was really fun seeing you guys. And I love that story that you mailed the pieces right next to each other. And that brings us to another, like one of those cross-country collaborations. So we have California to New Jersey. We have Pravarthi Kumar and Reshma Boohu, if I could talk, Bhupal, who did a collaboration of photography and glass, which I think is so cool. It's two mediums I never expected, and I would love you guys to chat about them. Are you guys here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Christina, and thank you to Kim, Dave, and Nathan for putting this all together. The video was amazing to see all the behind the scenes. I'm just grateful to have been part of the USPS project since last spring or last summer when it started at Pelham. It's just an amazing initiative and undertaking that you've taken, Christina, pretty amazing. So I'm based in Bridgewater, New Jersey, kind of central New Jersey. I'm not from New Jersey, I'm born and raised in Canada, but somehow I ended up in New Jersey for the last 20 years. So I'm a photographer. So I did the photo part of this work. Yeah, I've been doing photography for a long time. Started out in film, manual SLR, and now I do all kinds of digital work and some alternate process work. I actually have 3 pieces in this show, and one of the other pieces is with Hema Bharadwaj, a good friend of mine here in New Jersey, and we have a cyanotype. So I did a cyanotype print, and then she did some beautiful script around the image. And yeah, so I got involved last year with the Pelham exhibit. Have been fortunate to have a few different partners to do collaborations. Started with, actually, before I knew about the USPS Art Project, Hema and I had discussed about doing collaborations. I think it just kind of sprung out of the start of the lockdown. And she asked me, and then another friend asked me, and it was just a beautiful opportunity that the USPS Art Project came up to be able to be part of that whole collaborative effort as well. So when I was doing those other collaborations, I was thinking, because I knew Reshma, my sister-in-law, she does all this work in glass, and I was just thinking, like, how could we possibly collaborate? I didn't have any idea, but when I contacted her, you know, she came up with the idea of fused glass. So we actually did our first 2 pieces last year that were shown in Philadelphia. And then for this show, we did a new piece. So I will let her explain how she did her part.
Hi. I'm from the Bay Area. So I live cross country from Parvati. So last year, Parvati was, I mean, I have thought about doing collaborations with other glass artists, but this was something completely new. I always wanted to work with Parvati, but never actually got along to do it till this project came up, and she came to me last year and she's like, you know, there's this USPS project happening. Would you be interested? And we were floating ideas of what to do and things. And she said that the fused glass is something I've been doing for the past couple of years. So, and I said, you know what, fused glass is something more I can think along than stained glass. So we shared a couple of images, and we picked the images that we thought would like look best. And we did 2 of the pieces for the Philadelphia show, and we really, I think it was like something out of the box. I don't think I would have done it if not for Parvati having spoken to me. And I really liked it. It was, so when she came up with and when she said that there's something opening up in California, do you want to do it again? And I just jumped at it because this is something out of the box for me, which I wouldn't do in my regular work. So this is really exciting for me, and it was really fun. So I don't think Parvati mentioned this piece is done. She's got it photographed, and it's like printed out on wood. So we try to give it a little more woody effect with the piece having the wood log and like the wine autumny colors. So we were like going through, in fact, you can't really see it in the picture, but the leaves are of 2 different shades, kind of going with the autumn leaves. That was a happy accident. When I fused it, I didn't realize that one of them would change color. So when they changed color, it was like meant to be. So yeah, so this has been a really fun, interesting project. And thank you for having such a beautiful display. I know that was a time lapse, but I know the amount of work that goes behind to come up with a beautiful organization.
There's a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was, I think, the only glass that I've seen, glass art traveled through the mail to be made. And so that was just really special for me to see. And not being a photographer myself, all the photography collaborations I found super inspirational. And they worked with a lot of different either painters or collage artists or sculptors. And I just thought that was such a beautiful blend. So thank you, you guys. I think I forgot to mention your sister-in-laws, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I thought I mentioned it, but maybe I forgot.
I think I couldn't remember if I said it either. So thank you guys so much. And so we're not taking up everyone's whole evening here. We're going to go to one more pairing if Kimberly's ready for you.
I think I am. Okay, let's see here if we can see it. So the next artists that we're going to hear from are Sui Park and Stephanie Metz. And Sui, if you're there, if you want to go ahead and start and talk a little bit about the piece and how you guys got started working together.
Yes. Hello, I'm Sui Park, and I'm a visual artist in New York. And I'm so happy to be part of this show and like this project. When I heard about this project, I really wanted to join it. So I searched for the partner, and I reached out to Stephanie via Instagram. We even didn't know each other. Yeah, only just like we follow our Instagram each other. But I'm like, I really like her work. Her work is so beautiful and delicate, and she is using different material, totally different material with me. I mostly use cable ties and monofilament, kind of like a very artificial, the plastic materials. But she used the industrial felt, and it's very soft, and and very vibrant. Yeah, so I wanted to collaborate with her, and she said yes. I was so very excited, and we somehow like started our exchange a little bit late, late July last year. And when I received like her, we so totally like collaborated like 4 pieces, and those 2 sculpture forms are like 2 of them. And I sent my cable tie structure and 5 small like monofilament basketry shape forms. And she completed like she made such a beautiful form, and I really love our result. Yeah, and Stephanie Metz, it's your turn.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here and being part of this whole project. I have also never collaborated before. And so when I got this message from Sui through Instagram, I was blown away, partly because she's one of the artists that I really admire. I had never met her, and I just love her work. And so I was really flattered and excited and a little nervous about the idea of collaborating. So I'm here in San Jose, California, and I work primarily in wool and felt. I work very three-dimensionally with it. And so we agreed to ship things to each other and didn't really have any idea what would come. And so when I received her works, I was really intimidated at first because they're just so beautiful in and of themselves. There are these little woven monofilament pieces, and then the cable tie piece. And so what I do is I work with wool, so it starts loose and fluffy like this, and I stab at it with these particular kinds of sharp serrated needles. And doing that, I can make the wool really dense and firm and sculptural. So I had kind of the matrix of what she'd made, and I tried to think of a way that I could add to it and build off of it in this kind of growing organic way. And behind me, I also have one of the pieces. This is one of the ones, oh, when you're done looking. So that's the one where there were the little woven monofilament pieces. And I made these sort of cradle-y shapes for them. And if you push them a little bit, they kind of wiggle together, which is interesting. And I love how the light works with the translucent plastic of the monofilament. So this is one of the pieces that I began and Sui finished. She added color to it and added these little spiky cable pieces, which I love because the combination of soft and hard and angular and rigid is really intriguing to me. One of the other interesting things is that I think for both of us, we get to enjoy the fact that when we need to ship our work, even though it's three-dimensional, it's very unbreakable and very lightweight. And that is something I'm grateful for very often because it makes life a lot easier. So I am really pleased to be part of this, and I would definitely collaborate again, especially with Sui.
Wonderful. All right. Well, as you can see, I'm back here with our master Zoom operator, my son, Nathan Hocking. And I want to apologize to everyone. We were trying to get the site up with all of the artwork on it so you could purchase it, but there's like one extra step that we needed to do to get it online. So if you visited it, you might not have been able to purchase something, but we will get that done right after the opening. So if there's anything you're interested in, we're going to be working hard on that. So thanks for all your patience with our technical difficulties. And Nathan, thank you so much for all of your hard work. And yeah, we want to have time now for, thanks, and thanks to Dave for all of your hard work as well. And so if anybody wants to share, we're going to try to go through the chat. I know we have a lot of people here, so we'll just see. And if anybody, if you want to shout out and say, hey, I want to share, we can probably kind of try to do that. If you need to leave, it's okay. We're so glad that you're here with us, and it's just so interesting and fun to hear all the stories behind these pieces. I'm just really enthralled with them, and I feel like each time I get to look at them, I see more. And Nathan had one that he was kind of interested in. I don't know if you remember the name of it though. I remember the name.
It was like Behind Nature or something like that.
Ah, yeah. Anyways, all right, let me look in the chat to see if there's any questions. Wow, oh my gosh, there's so much chat. All right, I think
we should probably have, if you have any questions, just put them in again because there's way too much to scroll back through.
Yeah, but this is the first time we've ever done something with this large, this many people on Zoom, and it's like huge for us. So we're so excited, but yeah, it is like a kind of a beast on its own. So will the space be open for in-person viewing? Yes, most definitely. We want you to come in person. You can wear a mask. And we actually have those really cool little boxes that you saw. You can come in, if you come in person, you can take one of those home with you, and you could even do your own like USPS project. You just need to call my phone number. We'll put it in the chat again, 562-533-4020. And you can make an appointment with me. I live like 5 minutes from the art space, and I'm happy to come. And if anyone wants to do like a tour of the art space via Zoom, like if you're across the country or something like that, feel free to email me. I'll put my email in there too, Nathan, kimhocking@aol.com. You're welcome to email me if you want to do it with a little group of people via Zoom or something like that. Just let me know. I'm really trying to find ways to be like more collaborative and really do that community feel through Zoom. So I really appreciate you guys being part of that experiment this time. This is probably our one where we had the most technical things happen, but we tried to do the most kind of grand things. So it was really fun. Yeah.
Can you put in the link for your YouTube channel so that people can watch those videos again?
Yes, we'll definitely do that. And we will be posting all of this. So this will edit stuff, kind of edit some stuff through this, but we will definitely post this as well. It should be posted tomorrow. So if anybody didn't get to see the whole thing or wants to see more, they can do that. All right, so let's see. Question from earlier. How long did it take to set up, hang everything? Let's see, Dave, do you want to answer that one? I mean, we both did it together, but I'm trying to remember actually how many days. So turn it around on yourself and tell us.
I actually have to be in front of the camera for one. I think we did the first work on hanging is probably a week and a half ago, and it's probably been 7 or 8 days of a good 4 or 5 hours a day, kind of working through this. Over 100 pieces of art. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out exactly how things should go together so they complement each other. So hopefully we've done that with the show. And yeah, once it gets ready to hang, once we figured that part out, I always tell Kimberly, that's the hard part, getting everything lined up. Once we figured that out, I can just kind of do some math and get the right hangers in the wall in the right places and get everything in spots.
Yeah, I think he worked like probably 3 days at just hanging it because he has to do all the math with everything. And with 100 pieces, it's a lot of math. So thanks for all you guys' positive comments. That is my love language, hearing like encouraging things. So thank you so much. I'm going to read back over all the comments afterwards. I so appreciate it. So I wanted to highlight Parvati, and you said you wanted to talk about your quilt. So if you want to unmute yourself, we'll try and highlight you and your partner on the quilt. And Dave, if you could go over to the quilt as well.
Thank you. Yeah, my partner Judy is also on the call, and okay.
We'll find her.
Okay.
I've unmuted. I don't know.
Oh, okay, we can hear you. We'll try to find you here. Oh, there you are.
So Parvati, do you want to start?
Sure. Oh, this is not our quilt. Ours is the other quilt.
Oh, okay.
The one that's the Rudbeckia.
Black-eyed Susan.
The black-eyed Susan.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's
cool.
Behind the wall. Yeah.
We'll go to that one. Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah, that one's amazing. It's so impressive.
Thank you. So this was actually a collaborative idea that Judy talked to me about years ago, and it just didn't happen until last year. So just with all the collaborative momentum, I think that it was just meant to happen too last year. So yeah, Judy many years ago asked me, like, why don't you print some of your images on fabric and I'll quilt over it? And I thought, okay. I never thought in those directions. And so anyway, I'm glad we did. And yeah, Judy, she's an amazing quilter, and it's been really cool to marry photography and fabric arts in this way. So I'll let Judy talk about her part.
Yeah, Parvati's digital work is really fascinating. It adds a lot of textural interest to the image. And then for this one, for the Black-eyed Susan, along with just doing your standard quilting, highlighting certain sections, I decided to make the flower pop. So I used trapunto, which is adding different layers of batting behind the flower and then even behind the center of the flower to bring it out. But I see the world as a quilt, and I just wanted to get my hands on her digital images because they're just so cool. We've done, I think, what, about 5 pieces so far, and I've got 3 or 4 in the works. It's just a really fabulous collaboration.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so much fun to hear more about it and to hear more about the process. And I think this is one of the things that I have missed about having in-person events and things, because I got to see these images on the computer beforehand, and opening up and seeing them in person is just such a different experience. I really feel like artwork is one of those things that we need to experience in person. So thanks so much for sharing about your work.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else had any other questions. Let's see here. All right. So Christine Hippeli would like to talk, and yes, we will highlight you right now and you can unmute yourself. Did you get her on there? Did you highlight her? Let's see. We're working on it. So can you highlight Christine? There's 2 of you, so try that one.
Neither of them have their camera on, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
highlight them.
So I guess you don't have your camera on, Christine. Do you want to just talk?
Yeah. Can you hear us? No, she can't. Unmute it.
Yeah, I think we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just don't have a video for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're watching actually through my sister's TV, so we're trying to figure it out.
No worries. If you want to tell us which piece or write to us what piece you want to talk about, so then my husband can go and find it.
My name is actually under Hippeli. I typed in my last name, so maybe that's why it wasn't working.
Yeah, so we got your name there. So just what piece do you want to talk about? We'll highlight that while you're talking.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So me and Verna Vogel, who is an artist in Calgary, Canada. I don't really have a long, in-depth, really fascinating backstory about our piece. But I did meet Verna maybe about a year ago virtually on Instagram, and I just fell in love with her work. Her solo work, and I kind of just started a conversation with her, just telling her how much I really appreciated and loved her work. So we decided just to do a little art exchange, which was really, really cool. So I sent her, I sent her one of my art postcards that I send to my friends pretty frequently, and she sent me a beautiful small piece as well. And it was really touching because on the inside of the packaging in the piece she sent me was a handwritten poem. And I thought that was just a really beautiful touch to send that to the solo piece she sent me. So we just started following each other's work, and you know, she had seen that I had done previous collaborations, so we decided to do one together. And this is what we came up with, and it was kind of cool because I do a lot of collaging. So she actually sent me about 3 or 4 different pieces, and those crescent moon shapes and some of the circular shapes, and that crescent moon shape there on the right was actually she sent me like 4 of her paint skins from paint lids that she peeled off of paint lids and sent them to me. And so they were perfect circles, kind of this, you know, rubbery dried paint material. So I cut those into kind of like a crescent shape. So that was really fun. But yeah, I have 3 other pieces in the show with 2 other artists, with Abby Houston and Kieran as well. And I think those pieces are actually pretty close to this one. So if you, yeah, that one to the left. Oh, you just passed it right there. Yep, that's mine. And, Abby Houston's. She's Abby Painter Art on Instagram. And then if you go up, I believe there's one, you know, the triptych, the green triptych. It's the one just to the right of that. I don't know if that's in the same room.
Is this one?
No, the triptych in the other room. It's like, yeah. Sorry.
We'll take a tour together.
Yeah, there we go.
Try not to get sick.
The one just right up to the triptych, to the right of it. Oh, to the right, yeah. So I did this piece with Kieran, and I actually did 2 or 3 other pieces with him. He's from Yonkers, New York. I've actually never met him either. We just connected through the USPS Art Project Instagram account. So we've actually done 2 or 3 collaborations. This one's called A Drink in the Desert. And I started this one and Kieran finished it. And it's definitely one of my favorites. He added so much texture, and I just really, really love what he did with what I sent him.
Yeah, that one is really, really amazing. And that's another thing. It is so fun to see the texture on all of this. And I love that piece that you added, Christine, just about sort of like the giving and receiving of things, and like this idea of like a gift and that kind of intimate, you know, sending a poem, or I got so many nice notes from people, which was really inspiring and lovely. And I used to write like letters to my grandparents and get letters from my grandparents, which I still have. And I think, you know, receiving things through the actual mail is, yeah, something that is just really special. So, so thank you so much. I know you're a huge collaborator and you have a bunch of pieces in, so we're so excited to hear you talk about them. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and thanks again for repairing me and Verna's piece. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a challenge, so that it was fun. So yeah.
Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, you guys, like, this group has been such a wonderful group to work with. Like, had so many people donate, which was awesome, and so many people send nice notes and encouraging things, like just the kind of general care and concern for others that I feel like, and like I talked about with Christina, like I just almost feel like we're these great friends that we'll get on the phone and we'll talk for like over an hour and we won't realize how long it's been. So it's so wonderful to be able to still communicate and connect like during this time. This project has been really awesome and wonderful. So is there anybody else who has any last questions? We're definitely running over here, but I'm okay with it. If people want to stay, you can stay. And if you need to go, peace be with you and you can go. So let's see. Yes.
So I have a question that I'd like to ask about the piece that's the tree with the writing around it.
Yes, that's an awesome piece. And to be a tree, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, like, was the writing like copied from anything, or was it just like a sort of flow of consciousness around the piece?
Oh, good question. So my partner, Hema, she's not on the call, but when she saw it, she was inspired to take prose and poetry about trees and about the wisdom of trees. So it's a great question. Thank you for asking. We kind of pooled ideas. You know, we both found like different poems about trees. So she copied those around, and some of it might be her own ponderings. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's so fun to hear, like I said, the stories behind the art. We'll try to do some Instagram posts in the next couple of weeks just to highlight some of your guys' stories so that we can even learn more about everything. So thanks, Nathan. Great question. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll be sharing works
last call. Yeah, go, Christina.
I'll be sharing works from the show on Instagram as well. So most of you probably already following, but it's USPS Art Project on Instagram and the Artists for the USPS group on Facebook. So I'll be sharing the links there. It's easier to share links on Facebook than Instagram, and I'll be sharing images. But we've been doing some really wonderful newsletters featuring a lot of the artists in the collaboration. So if you're not on the email list already, you can sign up on the website, which I'll put that link into the chat right now. But Greenlee is also going to be sharing some of those stories with the artists and giving you a deeper look, because there's just some amazing stories that happened of how people got to know each other, how they participated in this project, and the things that they went through to do them. And so that's been a really fun way to get to know the work a little more intimately, especially if you can't be there in person right now. So, and I'll be, of course, resharing the videos as well. So that's where you can find those.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, just a big, huge thanks again to my son, Nathan, and to my husband, Dave, and to Christina Massey for putting this project together, and all the artists who shared with us today were willing to be interviewed and yeah, shared from your hearts. And I'm really touched by all of your work. And so yeah, just really grateful to have it here at Greenlee Art Space. And we hope to see as many of you as can come and see us. We hope to see you here soon. So we'll sign off for now. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Don't forget to
Thank you.
Everyone can unmute now and say goodbye if you want. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. You're welcome.
Very great.
Bye. We had so much fun, didn't we? You do that, do you?
Okay. Bye.
So many people here. Wonderful.
I know, it's fun. I'm finally getting like glimpses of people as people.
I know. I'm not used to having like 100 or however many people signed up, and then I have people calling me and saying I couldn't get a ticket. It's like, yeah, who knew, for an art show opening. So that was fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Remember to buy some stamps, everyone. Thank you.
Yep.